The huge glass doors of the Galactic Federation Academy slid open with a soft hiss. Sophia Martinez stood at the entrance, one small bag over her shoulder. The massive hallway stretched before her, filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some had scales, others had tentacles, and a few even floated above the ground. None of them looked like her. Sophia took a deep breath. The air felt thin here, processed and filtered for dozens of different species. A computer voice spoke from somewhere above her head. Human bioscan complete. Gravity settings adjusted to Earth normal in your quarters. Warning: most common areas remain at standard galactic gravity. She nodded and stepped forward. Her first steps were careful. The lighter gravity made her movements awkward. Around her, conversation stopped as students noticed her. Their many eyes, some glowing, some blinking sideways, all turned to watch. "A Deathworlder," whispered a tall blue alien with 4 arms. "From Earth. I heard they can break bones just by bumping into you," another student said, moving away from her path. Sophia kept her eyes forward and her face calm. She had expected this. Humans were rare at the Academy. Earth was classified as a death world, a planet with high gravity, extreme weather, and dangerous wildlife. To most galactic species, humans were scary, unpredictable creatures born on a planet that would kill most aliens in minutes. A small alien with green skin and large eyes approached her, holding a tablet. "You must be Sophia Martinez. I am Skill, your assigned guide and roommate." The alien's voice had a musical quality. "Your luggage arrived yesterday. I have taken it to our quarters." "Thank you," Sophia said quietly. It was her first time speaking since arriving on the station. Her voice sounded strange even to herself, too deep compared to Skill's high tones. Skill led her through the grand hallway. The ceiling arched hundreds of feet above them, decorated with moving star maps. Sophia felt the stairs follow her as they walked. "Your test scores were impressive," Skill said, filling the silence. "Many instructors are excited to have a human join us. It has been 27 galactic cycles since the last one." Sophia nodded but said nothing. Her silence made Skill nervous. The small alien kept talking faster. "Here is the main lecture hall." And there, Skill pointed to a large open space where students practiced strange movements, is the physical training area. "Though I suppose you will have a special program." "Why?" Sophia finally asked. "Well, because," Skill hesitated, "your physical capabilities are quite different from ours." They reached a door at the end of a quiet hallway. It slid open to reveal a simple room with 2 beds, one normal and one that looked reinforced. "The heavy one is yours," Skill said. They had to bring special furniture from the diplomatic wing. Sophia placed her bag on the bed. It barely sank under the weight. Standard furniture would have broken under her earthborn muscles in the station's light gravity. "First classes begin tomorrow," Skill said. "Would you like me to show you the nutrition center?" "No, thank you," Sophia replied. "I'd like to rest." When Skill left, Sophia finally relaxed. She sat on her bed and pulled out a small metal object from her pocket, a simple pin with Earth's flag. She turned it over in her hands, thinking of home, of why she was really here. Later that evening, students gathered in the common area, whispering about the new human. Some made up wild stories about Earth. Others wondered why she was so quiet. "She's probably shy," one suggested. "Or looking down on us," another said. None of them guessed the truth, that Sophia Martinez had not come to the Academy just to learn. She had come with a purpose, one that required her to watch and listen more than speak. For now, being the quiet Deathworlder girl suited her perfectly. The next day in tactical theory class, when Professor Naluk asked a complex question about battlefield adaptation, Sophia raised her hand for the first time. The room went silent as everyone waited to hear what the human would say. Professor Naluk's 6 eyes widened slightly as Sophia's hand went up. The tall, insect-like alien nodded at her. "Yes, Cadet Martinez. In unstable terrain, The standard approach fails, Sophia said, her voice soft but clear. Better to divide forces into small units that can adapt quickly to changing conditions. The room stayed silent. Professor Naluk clicked his mandibles, a sign of approval. Correct. Most interesting that a first-year student understands this concept. Sophia lowered her hand and said nothing more, but the other students looked at her differently now. She had answered a question many senior students would struggle with. 3 weeks passed. Sophia attended classes, ate meals alone, and spent evenings in the simulation chambers. She rarely spoke unless asked a direct question. When she did, her answers were short but perfect. Teachers began to notice her unusual skill, especially in combat strategy classes. One day, the academy held physical training tests. Each student had to complete an obstacle course designed for their species. Skill finished the Altarian course with an average time. When Sophia's turn came, several students gathered to watch. "The human will fail," said Valken, a tall reptilian student with bright red scales. "Deathworlders have strength, but no grace." Sophia stepped onto the starting platform. The course adjusted to Earth gravity levels. The instructor watched with interest. "Begin," said the computerized voice. Sophia moved. Her body flowed through the obstacles like water. She jumped higher than seemed possible, balanced on narrow beams without hesitation, and climbed walls faster than anyone expected. When she finished, the timer showed she had broken the course record by 42 seconds. The watching students fell quiet. Valken's scales darkened with anger. Later that day, Sophia sat alone in the nutrition center, eating Earth food provided by the academy. Valken approached with 3 friends. "You think you're special, Deathworlder," he said, towering over her. "We don't want your kind here." Sophia looked up calmly. "I'm just eating." "Your planet is a primitive backwater," Valken continued. "Humans only got into space because the Centaurians felt sorry for you." Sophia's face showed nothing. She returned to her meal as if Valken had disappeared. This made him angrier. He slammed his clawed hand on the table, leaving marks in the metal. "Answer me when I speak to you." Professor Naluk appeared behind them. "Is there a problem, cadets?" Valken straightened. "No, Professor. Just welcoming our Earth classmate." After they left, Professor Naluk sat across from Sophia. "You handled that well." Sophia nodded once. "I reviewed your application file," he said. "It lists no military background, yet your tactical knowledge is exceptional." "Earth schools teach history," Sophia replied. "I read a lot." The professor studied her with all 6 eyes. "Interesting. Tomorrow's class will cover the border skirmishes with the Ordovician Empire. Perhaps you've read about those too." Something flashed in Sophia's eyes, but her face remained calm. "A little." That night, in their room, Skill watched Sophia studying battle maps on her tablet. "Why do you stay so quiet?" Skill asked. "The others might like you if they knew you better." Sophia looked up. "I'm not here to be liked." "Then why are you here?" For a moment, Sophia seemed to consider answering honestly. Then she said, "To learn." Later, when Skill was asleep, Sophia opened a hidden file on her tablet. It contained classified images of destroyed Earth ships and military reports, marked Top Secret. She studied them for hours, her face lit by the blue glow of the screen, her eyes no longer quiet but burning with hidden purpose. In the morning, she returned to being the silent human in the back of the classroom. But now, something had changed. Professor Naluk watched her more carefully. And deep in Academy space, alarm systems began detecting unusual signals from the edge of Federation territory. In the dim light of her room, Sophia closed her eyes, but sleep did not come. Instead, memories flooded back. She was no longer in the Academy, but on the bridge of an Earth ship 3 years ago. Lieutenant Sofia Martinez stood at the tactical station of the EDF Horizon. The ship was small but fast, part of Earth's defense force. Captain Alan Wright pointed at the star map. "We patrol this sector for 2 weeks," he said. "Should be quiet." 2 days later, they detected an unknown ship. The captain ordered them closer to investigate. Ordovician signatures, Sophia reported, checking her screens. But they're not supposed to be in this sector. Before the captain could reply, 3 more ships appeared on the sensors. They were surrounded. "It's a trap," Sophia said. The first blast hit them hard. The bridge shook. Warning lights flashed everywhere. "Return fire," Captain Wright ordered. Sophia's hands flew over the controls. The horizon was not built for this kind of fight. One by one, systems failed. Bodies lay across the bridge. Only Sophia and the captain remained at their posts. "Lieutenant," the captain said, blood running down his face, "get to the escape pod." "Sir, I won't leave you." "That's an order. Someone must report this." They violated the treaty. This was planned. The ship rocked with another explosion. The captain pushed her toward the exit. "Go. That's an order." The memory shifted. Sophia was in a small escape pod, watching through the viewport as the horizon exploded in silent fire. Then darkness as her pod entered stealth mode. For 23 days, she drifted in enemy territory. The pod systems kept her alive, but nothing more. When Federation forces finally found her, she was half-starved and changed forever. The investigation that followed was brief and secret. The official report called it an accident. The real report was sealed. No one wanted to admit that the Ordovicians had ambushed an Earth ship in neutral space. It might start a war neither side was ready for. Sophia snapped back to the present as her tablet beeped. A message from Earth Command, encoded twice for security. She opened it carefully. "Intelligence confirms unusual Ordovician fleet movements. Stay alert. Original mission unchanged." She deleted the message immediately. No one at the Academy knew why she was really here. After the attack, Earth Defense Force had secretly reassigned her. Her mission: learn everything about alien military tactics, especially Ordovician, and watch for signs of another attack. The next morning, Professor Naluk's class covered the border skirmishes as promised. The conflict ended with the Treaty of Proxima. The professor said, "Some incidents were never fully explained, like the loss of the human vessel Horizon, believed destroyed by asteroid collision." Sophia's hand tightened on her desk, leaving small dents in the metal. No one noticed except Skill, who gave her a curious look. After class, Valken blocked Sophia's path in the hallway. "I heard humans are too weak to serve in real combat," he said loudly. "That's why they hide behind treaties." Several students gathered, waiting for Sophia's reaction. She said nothing, face blank as always. "Is it true your ships run away when they see Ordovician vessels?" Valken pressed. Something dangerous flashed in Sophia's eyes, but she only stepped around him and walked away. That night, the Academy's emergency alarm system ran a test. When the loud siren sounded, Sophia moved before she could stop herself. She rolled out of bed into a defensive position, a small knife appearing in her hand from nowhere. Skill stared in shock. "Where did you get that weapon?" "Personal weapons are forbidden." Sophia slowly relaxed, hiding the knife again. "Old habits," she said quietly. "What kind of student has habits like that?" Skill asked. Sophia didn't answer. But for the first time, her roommate saw past the quiet facade. Whatever Sofia Martinez was, just a student, wasn't it? Meanwhile, at the edge of Academy space, a small fleet of ships gathered in the shadow of a dead moon. Their hulls bore the mark of the Ordovician Empire. On the command ship, General Vrax studied a display showing the Academy's location. "Begin the approach," he ordered. "Silent running until my signal." The Academy dining hall buzzed with student chatter. Sophia sat alone as usual, methodically eating while scanning the room. She noticed the atmosphere felt different today. Staff members moved with unusual urgency. Security officers checked door panels that normally went untouched. Professor Naluk entered and spoke quietly to another teacher. His normally relaxed posture was stiff, antennae rigid with tension. Sophia's tablet vibrated. Another encoded message. Ordovician ships detected near Sector 7. Not responding to hails. Stay alert. She deleted it and continued eating. But her mind raced. Sector 7 was too close to the academy for comfort. In afternoon class, Professor Naluk seemed distracted. "Today we will discuss evacuation protocols," he announced instead of the scheduled lesson. Students murmured in confusion. "This is merely procedural," he added quickly. "All Federation facilities run these drills." Sophia noticed his lower hands trembling slightly. Something was wrong. As the professor explained evacuation routes, Sophia studied the diagrams carefully. She mentally noted weaknesses in the plans, areas where bottlenecks would form if too many people moved at once. Class ended early. In the hallway, Valken and his friends cornered her. "Security is everywhere," Valken said. "You know something, Deathworlder." "Why would I know anything?" Sophia replied calmly. "Your kind always attracts trouble," another student said. "Maybe she called her human friends to attack us," a third suggested. Sophia simply walked away. Their words meant nothing compared to the real danger she sensed approaching. That evening, Skill paced their room nervously. "Something's happening," the small alien said. "All senior staff are in emergency meetings." "Probably just a drill," Sophia replied, but she was packing essential items into a small bag under her bed when Skill wasn't looking. Just before midnight, the room lights flashed red. A moment later, alarms blared through the entire station. The automated system announced, "Alert Level 1. This is not a drill. All students report to central gathering areas." Skill jumped up, panicking. "What's happening?" Sophia was already moving, fully dressed. "We need to go. Now." They joined streams of confused students rushing through corridors. Emergency lighting cast everything in red shadows. Some students cried out in their native languages. Others stood frozen in fear. In the central hall, Academy Director Philo, a tall crystalline being, stood on a platform attempting to create order. Senior students tried to organize the younger ones by species and living quarters. "Remain calm," the director's voice echoed. "We have detected unauthorized vessels approaching the academy. As a precaution, we err." His words cut off as the station shuddered violently. Lights flickered. Many students screamed. "We're under attack," someone shouted. Another explosion rocked the station harder. Part of the ceiling collapsed in the far corner of the hall. More screams filled the air. The director's voice came back, now sharp with fear. "All students to emergency shelters, staff to defense stations." Chaos erupted. Students ran in all directions. Security forces tried to direct traffic, but were overwhelmed by the panic. Sophia stood perfectly still, an island of calm in the storm of bodies. Her eyes narrowed as she analyzed the situation. The pattern of explosions told her the attackers were targeting communications first, then defense systems, standard Ordovician invasion protocol. Director Philo shouted for order, but his voice was lost in the noise. Another blast hit. The main lights failed completely, leaving only dim emergency strips along the floor. In the darkness, someone grabbed Sophia's arm. It was Professor Naluk. "Most of our senior security staff are at the Centauri conference," he said urgently. "We're defenseless." "You're not defenseless," Sophia replied, her voice different now. Commanding, decisive. "You have me." For the first time since arriving at the academy, she stood at her full height, shoulders back, eyes alert and focused. The quiet student vanished, replaced by a combat veteran. "Sir," she said to the startled professor, "I need access to your defense control systems." "You? But you're just a—" "I'm Lieutenant Sophia Martinez, Earth Defense Force." She cut him off. "And I've fought these enemies before." Before he could respond, the station rocked with another explosion. The lights went out completely. In the darkness, someone screamed. "They're boarding the station." In the darkness of the central hall, emergency lights sputtered back to life, casting red shadows across frightened faces. Sophia stood in the center, no longer trying to blend in. Her quiet mask had fallen away completely. "Professor," she said firmly to Naluk, "I need access to defense controls now." The insect-like teacher hesitated only a moment before nodding. "Follow me." As they moved against the crowd of panicking students, Sophia grabbed Skill by the arm. "I need your help too." "Me?" Skill's voice trembled. "What can I do? You know the station systems better than I do." They pushed through to a side corridor. Professor Naluk pressed his hand against a hidden panel, revealing a small command center. Inside, several teachers argued loudly while trying to establish communications with Federation forces. "Help isn't coming," Sophia announced as they entered. "Not in time." The room fell silent. Director Philo turned to her, his crystalline form pulsing with stress colors. "Who let a student in here? This is a restricted area." "She's not just a student," Professor Naluk said. "She's Earth military." The director's colors shifted to deep blue surprise. "Is this true?" Sophia nodded once. "Lieutenant Sophia Martinez, Earth Defense Force. I've fought Ordivisions before. And right now, I'm your best chance at survival." Another explosion shook the station. A teacher at a monitor called out, "They've breached Level 3. Security teams are overwhelmed. We have about 20 minutes before they take the station," Sophia said calmly. "Unless we act now." Director Philo wavered, then made a decision. "What do you suggest, Lieutenant?" Sophia moved to the central display. "First, we need to seal all cross-station corridors. Force them to move through these narrow sections." She pointed to the map. "Second, I need to know what weapons we have available." "This is an educational facility," the director protested. "We have minimal defense systems." "Show me what you have," Sophia insisted. While the staff pulled up inventory lists, Sophia turned to Skill. "I need you to access the environmental controls." "What for?" Skill asked. "Trust me." Within minutes, Sophia had formulated a plan. She looked at the frightened staff and spoke with quiet authority. "The Ordivisions think they're attacking a helpless school. We're going to prove them wrong." She pointed to different teachers. "You secure the student dormitories. You get all medical staff to the lower levels. And you find Valken and bring him here." Everyone moved to obey without question. Something in her voice made disobedience unthinkable. When Valken arrived, he looked stunned to see Sophia giving orders. "What is this Deathworlder doing?" he demanded. "Saving your life," Sophia replied. "You know the other senior students. I need them organized into teams." "Why should I help you?" Sophia stepped close to him, her human eyes locked with his reptilian ones. "Because if you don't, everyone on this station dies, including you." Something in her gaze made him step back. For the first time, he saw what his instincts had warned him about. Humans weren't just strong, they were predators, evolved on a world where everything tried to kill them. "What do you need?" he asked quietly. Within 10 minutes, Sophia had organized the entire station. Senior students led younger ones to secure areas. Teachers reprogrammed environmental systems according to her instructions. Maintenance workers converted tools into makeshift weapons. In the command center, Sophia studied the station schematic. "They'll head for the central computer core next. We need to be ready." Professor Naluk watched her in amazement. "How do you know their tactics so well?" "I watched my entire crew die to them," she said without emotion. "I spent 23 days drifting through their territory. I learned how they think." A communication line crackled to life. An Ordivision voice filled the room. "Attention Academy Station. Surrender immediately. Resistance is futile." Sophia took the communicator. For a moment, she stood silent, her face showing the first real emotion anyone had seen. Cold, focused rage. "This is Lieutenant Sophia Martinez of Earth," she said, her voice deadly calm. "I recommend you retreat immediately." Laughter came through the speaker. "One human does not concern us." Sophia's lips curved into a small, dangerous smile. "You should be concerned. Very concerned." She cut the communication and turned to the others. "Get ready. They're coming." Across the station, students and staff moved into position. The quiet Deathworlder girl had transformed the academy into a fortress, and the Ordovicians had no idea what was waiting for them. The first group of Ordovician soldiers reached level 2 of the academy. They moved with military precision, weapons ready. They looked like tall, armored crabs walking on 2 legs, with 4 arms each holding different weapons. Their hard shells gleamed under the emergency lights. "No resistance," the squad leader reported through his communicator. Proceeding to main computer core. They turned a corner and found a dark corridor ahead. Sensors showed no life signs. The squad advanced cautiously. Suddenly, the gravity increased tenfold. The soldiers crashed to the floor, their exoskeletons cracking under the sudden pressure. Before they could react, the corridor filled with Earth-normal atmosphere, thick, heavy, and humid. The Ordovicians' breathing filters clogged instantly. From the shadows, Valken and 3 other student volunteers emerged wearing gravity boots. They quickly collected the fallen weapons and retreated. In the command center, Sophia nodded as the report came in. "It worked. Team 1 has disabled the first squad." "You changed the environmental settings," Skill said in amazement. "Their bodies can't handle Earth gravity or atmosphere." "Exactly," Sophia replied. "Now for Phase 2. Across the station, more Ordovician teams advanced, only to encounter similar traps. Some corridors became freezing cold, others filled with Earth-normal water pressure, crushing the invaders' breathing equipment. General Vrax watched the progress from his command ship. His antenna twitched in annoyance. "We've lost contact with 4 teams," his second-in-command reported. "Something is wrong. Send in the heavy units," Vrax ordered. "I want that station under our control within 1 hour." Back in the Academy Command Center, Sophia studied the scanner. "They're bringing in bigger forces. We need to move fast." She turned to the director. "I need access to the training simulators." "The simulators? Why?" "Just trust me." Minutes later, Sophia stood in the simulator control room with Skill and Professor Naluk. The large machines normally created virtual environments for student training. Sophia's fingers flew over the controls, reprogramming them. "The Academy's main defense system is too damaged to work," she explained. "But these simulators have powerful projection capabilities." "You can't fight real soldiers with holograms," Professor Naluk objected. "Watch me," Sophia replied. On level 4, a squad of Ordovician heavy troops moved forward in reinforced armor. They approached the central atrium cautiously. Suddenly, the space filled with what appeared to be 50 human soldiers in Earth Defense Force uniforms, all pointing weapons directly at them. The Ordovician squad froze, unable to believe so many humans could be on the station. Before they could decide whether the threat was real, the floor beneath them opened up. A trap designed by Valken and his newly recruited team sent the invaders plummeting 2 levels down. "Clever use of holograms," Valken admitted when he reported back to the command center. Sophia barely acknowledged him. "Status report on remaining enemy forces." "They're regrouping near the main docking bay," Skill said, checking the sensors. "At least 30 soldiers, plus their commander." Sophia studied the station layout. "They'll try to take the command center next. We need to be ready." She turned to the staff. "I need every drone and maintenance robot you have." "What are you planning?" the director asked. "A surprise," Sophia replied. Within minutes, every available service droid and cleaning robot had been collected. Sophia and Skill quickly reprogrammed them, while Valken's team positioned them throughout the approach to the command center. "They're moving again," Professor Naluk warned. Sophia nodded. "Get everyone into position." As the main Ordovician force advanced toward the command center, they encountered little resistance, making them suspicious. Their commander signaled caution. Suddenly, every light in the station went out. Complete darkness fell. The Ordovicians switched to infrared vision, but it showed nothing useful. The entire corridor ahead seemed to be one massive heat signature. "What is this?" the commander hissed. The lights came back on. The corridor before them was filled with robots. Maintenance droids, teaching assistants, cleaning units, all moving forward together. Behind them walked students and staff from multiple species, armed with confiscated Ordovision weapons and tools converted to weapons. And at the front, alone and seemingly unafraid, stood Sofia Martinez. "This ends now," she said quietly. On his command ship, General Vrax received the unexpected image from his ground forces, a single human female standing against his elite troops. Something about her seemed familiar. "Who is that?" he demanded. His officer checked the Academy records. "A student named Sofia Martinez." Vrax's antennas stiffened in shock. "Martinez, from the Horizon incident." He stared at the screen in disbelief. The supposedly dead human officer from his greatest victory was very much alive. And from the look in her eyes, she remembered him too. Time seemed to freeze in the corridor as Sofia faced the Ordovision troops. Behind her, the students and staff held their makeshift weapons nervously. The Ordovision commander raised his weapon. "Surrender or die," he said coldly. Sofia didn't move. "Look around you. Your soldiers are defeated. Your attack has failed. We outnumber you." "Numbers aren't everything," Sofia replied. Then she pressed a small device in her hand. Throughout the station, hidden speakers activated. The sound that played was simple but terrible to Ordovision hearing, the precise frequency that vibrated their exoskeletons painfully. The soldiers clutched their heads, their weapons dropping to the floor. "Now," Sofia shouted. The Academy defenders surged forward. Valken led the charge, showing unexpected courage. The service robots moved in precise formation, each one following Sofia's programmed instructions to disable rather than kill. Within minutes, the remaining Ordovision forces were subdued. But the victory was incomplete. As Sofia secured the prisoners, her tablet beeped with an alert. She checked the screen, and her face hardened. "The command ship is preparing to fire on the station," she told Professor Naluk. "They'd rather destroy the Academy than admit defeat." "Can we evacuate?" the professor asked. "No time." Sofia studied the station schematics once more. "There's only one option left. I need to get to the communication array. It was damaged in the attack," Skill said. "I can fix it enough for what I need." Sofia turned to Valken. "Keep the prisoners secure. Professor, get everyone to the emergency shelters." She looked at Skill. "I need you with me." They raced through the damaged corridors to the upper level where the giant communication dish sat partially destroyed. Sofia immediately began rewiring components. "What are you doing?" Skill asked. "Changing this from a communication device to a weapon," Sofia replied, working quickly. "Help me adjust these settings." On the Ordovision command ship, General Vrax watched the main screen as weapons charged. "No survivors," he ordered. "Especially not Martinez." His second-in-command looked troubled. "Sir, attacking an educational facility violates galactic law." "There will be no evidence left," Vrax snapped. "Fire when ready." Suddenly, the ship's systems flickered. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. "What's happening?" Vrax demanded. "Unknown signal penetrating our shields," an officer reported. It's using our own communication protocols." Back on the Academy roof, Sofia connected the final wire. The damaged array hummed with power, aimed directly at the Ordovision command ship. Ordovision ships use a special frequency for ship-to-ship communication, she explained to Skill. "I learned it during my time drifting in their territory. Their systems accept any signal on that frequency without security checks." "What are you sending them?" "A simple code that will make their ship broadcast a full retreat order to their entire fleet," Sofia said. "Plus some evidence they won't want getting out." On the command ship, chaos erupted as systems failed one by one. Worse, the communication system activated on its own, broadcasting on all Ordovision channels. Full retreat. Academy operation compromised. Return to base immediately. Along with the retreat order went data packets, the ship's logs revealing the unprovoked attack, violations of treaties, and General Vrax's orders from years ago regarding the Horizon ambush. Shut it down. Vrax screamed, but it was too late. Throughout the sector, Ordovision ships received the order and began pulling back. The command ship's weapons powered down as emergency protocols kicked in. Vrax stared at the screen in disbelief. Somehow, that human had turned his own systems against him. His career, his plans, all destroyed by the same officer he thought he'd killed years ago. "Sir," his second-in-command said quietly, "Federation peacekeeping forces are responding to distress calls. They'll be here within the hour." On the Academy roof, Sophia watched as the Ordovision ships began to retreat. Skill looked at her with new understanding. "You didn't just defeat them," the small alien said. "You exposed them." Sophia nodded, her face showing satisfaction for the first time. "Justice for my crew, and protection for everyone else." As they made their way back inside, students and staff gathered, looking at Sophia with awe and respect. The quiet Deathworlder girl had saved them all. And she had done it not just with human strength, but with intelligence, strategy, and knowledge of her enemy. Professor Naluk approached her. "The Federation representatives will want a full report when they arrive." "I'll be ready," Sophia said. Her voice was still quiet, but it now carried the unmistakable authority of someone who had faced death and won. Twice. 2 weeks after the attack, the Academy had changed. Repair crews worked throughout the station. Security systems were being upgraded. Students walked the halls with new awareness of the galaxy's dangers. And Sophia Martinez was no longer the quiet girl in the back of the classroom. She stood in Professor Naluk's lecture hall, facing her fellow students. After the Federation peacekeepers had arrived and taken General Vrax into custody, the truth had come out. The Academy's leadership had asked Sophia to share her knowledge with others. "The most important lesson in tactical defense," she told the class, "is to use your enemy's expectations against them." Students listened with rapt attention. Even Valken sat in the front row, taking notes. Their near-death experience had changed everyone. "The Ordovicians expected to find helpless students," Sophia continued. "They didn't expect resistance. That surprise was our first advantage." Professor Naluk observed from the side, mandibles clicking in approval. The Federation Council had formally commended both him and Sophia for their actions. The evidence she had broadcast from the Ordovision ship had exposed years of treaty violations. Peace negotiations were now underway. After class, Skill caught up with Sophia in the hallway. "The Federation military representatives are here again," the small alien said. "They want to offer you a position as a tactical instructor." Sophia nodded. "I know." "Will you take it?" "No," Sophia said simply. "My place is here, finishing what I started." They walked together toward the dining hall. Students moved aside respectfully as they passed. The story of how the quiet human girl had silenced an entire army had spread throughout the galaxy. In the hall, Director Philo was speaking with Federation officials. He waved Sophia over. "Lieutenant Martinez, these representatives wish to speak with you about the new defense course we're establishing." One of the officials, an older human woman with gray hair, stepped forward. "We've reviewed your actions during the attack. Impressive work." "Thank you, Admiral," Sophia replied. "The Federation needs officers with your skills. Once you complete your studies here, we hope you'll consider a position with our strategic command." Sophia looked around at the Academy, at the students and teachers who had fought alongside her, at the place that had become her home. "I'll consider it," she said. Later that evening, Sophia stood alone by the viewing window in the dormitory wing. Stars stretched before her, including the distant sun of Earth. She thought about how far she had come from the traumatized survivor drifting in an escape pod. Valken approached cautiously. Since the attack, his attitude toward her had completely changed. "The combat class is starting," he said. "The younger students are waiting for you." After the battle, Many Academy students had asked Sophia to teach them basic defense techniques. With the director's approval, she had started an unofficial class. "I'm coming," she replied. Valken hesitated. "I wanted to say about how I treated you before." "It's forgotten," Sophia said. "How did you do it?" he asked suddenly. "Stay so quiet, so patient, knowing what you knew." Sophia considered the question. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should fear most. Not because they're plotting against you, but because they're observing everything. Learning. Planning. She turned from the stars to face him. "I was quiet because I was listening. When the time came to speak, I made sure it counted." In the training room, 20 students of different species waited for her. Some were practicing moves she had taught them. Others were discussing the recent events. All fell silent when she entered. Sophia Martinez stood before them, no longer hiding who she was. The quiet Deathworlder girl had found her voice. "Today," she told them, "we're going to learn how to turn an enemy's strength into a weakness." As she began the lesson, a message arrived on her tablet from Earth Command. "Lieutenant Martinez, your mission is officially complete. Report your status and intentions." She smiled slightly and typed a simple reply. Mission expanded. Continuing education. The fight goes on. Across the Academy station, life returned to normal, or a new normal. Classes resumed. Students studied, but something fundamental had changed. A legend had been born about the human girl who had been quiet in class until the day came when she silenced an entire army. And in lecture halls throughout the Academy, professors now reminded their students, never underestimate the quiet ones.